Welcome. Thank you for joining me. My name is Stephanie Itle-Clark, and I serve on the board of the Humane Education Coalition, and I'm the founder of the Academy of Prosocial Learning. Through both organizations, I'm honored to serve the field of education and to work to share important concepts about both best practices in professional development and curriculum, which leads me to the topic of the day, which is humane pedagogy. We're going to quickly discuss what that is and an overview of how we can put it into practice. So as we break down the term humane pedagogy, right? Humane is the part that may be the easiest for everybody to understand. Right? Humane is marked by compassion, sympathy, or consideration for humans or animals. Now, pedagogy is something that whether you're a formal educator or an informal educator working on outreach, each of us teaches in a certain way. That's pedagogy. Pedagogy is the art, the science, or profession of teaching. And like all professions, educators can become more and more skilled in their practice by continually expanding their knowledge of pedagogy. Humane pedagogy is the signature pedagogy of our field, and it guides the practices we use as we develop our programs. A field's signature pedagogy correlates to the knowledge that we share, the actions we take while we're educating, and our personal belief about the purpose of education. Now, humane pedagogy is humanistic in nature, meaning that it fosters the desire to learn, it provides a safe place to do so, and it teaches learners how to reflect and to do self-evaluation so that they can continue to grow, right? And to connect the values and their feelings to their whole learning process. And of course, humane educators, those who practice humane pedagogy and whose signature pedagogy is humane pedagogy, we don't separate the cognitive, factual knowledge or the affective, emotional knowledge, those domains of learning. We know that they work best in tandem and they combine to support positive attitude and behavior change. Now, humane pedagogy is founded on classic education theories such as constructivism, critical pedagogy, and transformational learning. And it's student-centered, meaning that students have a strong voice in discovering what it is that there may be a need or an action that they want to take. Right? It supports learning through discourse, through experience, through reflection. And it addresses the centralization of power and those who are marginalized. Right? It really allows learners to actively engage to better all of society. Now, the main difference that humane pedagogy has as compared to some of the other pedagogies out there is that humane pedagogy brings in not just the human rights and social justice literacy component, not just the environmental literacy component, but also gives equal weight to the importance of learners understanding animal welfare and having animal welfare literacy. Humane pedagogy, as the signature pedagogy for the field, is important because it gives us a framework through which we both train incoming educators as well as the model that we use in our personal practice when we're out there with learners of all ages, right? So humane pedagogy covers both because it's our signature pedagogy, right? It helps us train educators in methods to use, and it's actually the way we teach as well and how we apply what we know. So how do we put it into practice? Right? When we put humane pedagogy into practice, we want to keep in mind 3 of the core tenets, and those are: it encourages critical thinking, it addresses bias and stereotypes, and helps people to embrace differences, and it requires learner participation. Right? We mentioned there's a lot of critical thinking. It's truly an inquiry-based practice. So let's look at an example. that we could do in our own programs. I like to use something called a graffiti wall because, first of all, it sounds fun, right? Most learners are going to be interested in learning what a graffiti wall is, and it also, probably most importantly, encourages critical thinking and perspective taking. When you do a graffiti wall with your students, all you need is a large board space, or better yet, some large paper or posters so you can keep it and refer back to it. In the center of the graffiti wall, you want to pose a central question or statement that you want your learners to think about. Our example is a general statement, right? Our example. It says, the treatment of people, animals, and the environment is connected. So after you would share that statement and the graffiti wall's up, the students would use markers or pens, some sort of writing utensil that will show on the board. They'll write or draw their thoughts and their responses to the statement. Now you can see in this example that one student may bring up the idea that food deserts, they're related to people and animals and the environment in which they live, right? Which could lead other students to begin thinking about the lack of resources that are available to families and how it's not just impacting, right, things that are available for humans, but things that might be available for companion animals. Through this example graffiti wall, students are learning about the cycle of poverty, and they'll be able to note some big connections that they can then discuss and dig deeper. Right? So there's looped learning that can even be built in to something as simple as a graffiti wall. They're a lot of fun because students get to get up, they get to move around, and when they're writing on the graffiti wall, only the markers can talk, right? So you want them to process. You don't want them to verbally interact until it's over. Instead, they share what they know or think they know, and then they read what the others share. So it'll introduce new concepts, new experiences, new perspectives, which we know this context building will help to reduce bias. So there's a lot of things that can come out of an activity as simple as a graffiti wall, right? And I hope you incorporate that into your own humane pedagogy practices. There's so much more we could discuss about how to embrace humane pedagogy, how to use the framework in your own programs. We obviously just don't have time to go into all of it today, so be sure to visit the Humane Education Coalition often and to use some of the resources offered by our partners. You can find online courses, downloadable resources, and more at Humane Education Coalition's partner sites, including the Academy of Prosocial Learning, Peace Learning Center, the Association of Professional Humane Educators, and Humane Education Advocates Reaching Teachers. Thank you so much for watching, and we look forward to working with you as you implement humane pedagogy into your practice.